Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Now, I tape these a couple of times a week, so you may see me looking pretty much the same as you just did in yesterday's video. So, what we're going to do today is we're not going to sit here and take a look at these numbers and go through it all and say what I have to work on and what I don't. Because if you want that information, just look at the previous day. Yeah, it's my secret weapon to get you to take a look. Today, I want to discuss where you go for help. Financial help. Having diabetes is expensive, so you need to know where to look. Today's point is, where are you from? And what little secrets you have found to help you out. And with that, we'll be back shortly. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. As I mentioned before, diabetes is expensive. In Canada, we are lucky that we have socialized medicine. And doing this, we have an awful lot of things covered. It's always nice to have it done by work, but for the average family, it can be daunting to do all the paperwork and everything. Now, while I say that, most Canadians live within 200 miles or whatever that is, kilometers. I know I should know, but I don't because we're so close, but live within 200 miles or 200 kilometers, if you want to be that, of the US border. And we do feel that we are lucky in that within 200 miles down that way, it's actually quite close here where I am now, is the US border. And if we were on that side of the border, being a diabetic and financial concerns takes a whole different story. I'm going to start by discussing Canadian. Most Canadians in diabetes are covered by your provincial. I just thought someone was coming in. But it is mostly covered by your provincial healthcare plan. So, what does this mean? Well, what that means is you go to the drugstore, you go to the drugstore, you go to the doctor, you get a prescription, you go to the drugstore, they fill it. Now, for a bit of the first year, you have to pay a bit of a deductible. And then you're fully covered. Most diabetics just go through this amount very quickly. And then you're free. What this does is it makes everyone kind of rush at the end of the year trying to get all the medication they can. I always thought, well, why don't they just do it on your birthday? Wouldn't that make more sense? because then you're going to know and you're going to remember that. I guess it could be the same for December. Now, in BC, we are covered. Where is it? There it is. For an insulin pump. I believe most health regions across Canada, and I'm talking about provincial ministries of health, will cover insulin pumps now. Insulin pumps are becoming the standard, but doesn't mean if you're still using injections and you enjoy using injections, doesn't mean you're going to be stuck using the pump. But for those who need it, they can get the insulin pump. In my province, if you want the CGM or continuous glucose monitor, traditionally it is not covered. And for a while there, it was given to people who had, what do they call it, employer health. So when I first got my first pump, there was no such thing as CGM. The best thing we had was a little clicker on a key ring, and you would press it and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would repeat 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you press send and you get your insulin. They haven't brought anything like that back. But CGM, for me, works with my pump. Different pumps work with a different brand called Dexcom. They're both quite expensive. And if you are in dire need of either one, if you want to go to Dexcom or you want to, like I do, work with Medtronic, that's great. Medtronic isn't sponsoring this, by the way. But where do you get the help on all these things? Insulin's covered, needles are covered, supplies for insulin pumps are covered. Basically, everything you need to control your diabetes is covered. Again, I say at the beginning of the year, you pay a small deductible. Now, if you have something else, you can always apply for special authority. And in BC right now, the CGM, the little disc that I've talked about, a number of other videos talk about, is covered under special authority, which means your doctor has to write a note and get clearance before issuing it. I was one of the first, if not the first, in BC to be covered for a sensor. And to this day, I personally don't have to pay, but I don't flaunt that. I realize it's a lot of money, and so I use them every single day. Well, that's one of the reasons why. Let me just do this here quick. I'm always able to do that. It's because it's come ingrained. If I don't have it and the pump is just working without it, I feel lost. So your doctor will be able to help you. Anything else medically related? At one point, I was having a real problem in having lows at night. And what came out is I had to get this alarm clock. And this alarm clock would make a high-pitched sound, and it would, if my pump shook, it would set off another alarm, and I had to have something taped to this, to my pump. And I applied to, in BC, it's the Ministry of Social Services, and was able to get funding for this. Your doctor will be able to help you guide the way through. If you're in the States, there's Medicare and Medicaid. I'm not exactly sure how you go about getting the help. You have to remember, whether it's the provincial government, your employer's medical, or you're paying, everyone's going to try to get the cheapest way. Whether that be, needles, I'm going to have to use this needle 3 or 4 times because I can't afford it. In BC or in Canada, we're lucky. Years ago, there was a Canadian National Jamboree in Thunder Bay, and we pretty well took over a park in Thunder Bay. And it was a good event, but I ran out of needles. Something was wrong with the supply of needles I had. So I went to the drugstore and I took out my wallet, and they said, do you have your provincial health care card? And I said, well, yeah, but it's BC. Oh, never mind. And they typed it in, and I was covered. Same as if you have a medical emergency anywhere in the country, you can go to the hospital and it's covered by your pharmacare card. That's awesome. We don't have to worry about secret charges. Years ago, BC instituted a user fee. If you were put in the hospital, you were charged something like $8 a day. And that didn't last too long. You're charging people the right to get sick. You're charging people that need your help. You're going to charge them money. And they'd send out collection agencies with these bills. And we got a little taste of what it was like. They eventually dropped that system, and we're now where we don't even have to pay for the right for your medical. Where all British Columbians are covered. I don't know what it's like in Alberta or Saskatchewan, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, or Newfoundland, Labrador. Gotta remember the Labrador on that province. But I'm not exactly sure. So where do you actually start looking for help? One is with your doctor. Your doctor should be able to help you out. Your clinic that you're based with, usually there will be supplies. I know the diabetic center I deal with, my diabetic nurse, when I started using the ketone meter, gave me some ketone strips. That helps quite a bit too. So be aware of what's available through your clinics. They may also have different grants or whatever that are available. I'm talking in Canada and also maybe in the States. It's amazing what's available to you if you just take a look. Da, da, da. So you may contact your, if you're on disability in this province, they cover most of your medical needs. There was 1 year I got a new chair, power chair. I got a pump, all my pump supplies. I felt like I was ripping off the province, but that is what it's there for. There's so much of people feeling, oh, well, I don't take handouts. If you work hard, you'll be able to surpass anything. But why should we be put into poverty because of an illness we did nothing to stop? We did it. Sorry, how am I trying to say here? We did nothing to get. Therefore, we shouldn't have to be paid or pay into a fund. It's ludicrous. But so government is a great idea. Pharmacare, your province pharmacare. Government Medicaid or Medi-Cal or what, the programs in the state. Like I said, even clinics in the States will help diabetics. It is expensive. If you had to sit there and pay out everything, you would need another full-time job and a half just to pay for everything. So basically, you'd be up working from the time you went up till the time you went to bed. The only problem is you probably get 3-4 hours of sleep, and you'd have to be up and doing it again. That's unfair. That's ludicrous. But that's what most people have to deal with. I personally don't believe in. We have an awful lot of Americans who will come into Canada or Mexico and purchase our insulin. We found that with the diabetes drug type 2 Ozempic, where oh yes, we can lose weight. We'll just go up to Canada and buy a whole bunch of it. BC put a restriction on that, but your insulin's covered in Canada if you hold Canadian insurance. Your needles are covered, your pump supply is covered, even your pump. But they all require that you see your doctor and you speak to your doctor and make sure that these items are right for you. Don't just, oh, well, I need that and I need this. Oh, we forgot about glucometers. How could we forget about glucometers? Your strips are covered, and most of the time, if I need a new glucometer, I'm buying 100 strips, so I get the glucometer for free. My BC health number covers it, and we're happy-go-lucky. Sorry, something in the eye. The States now, America, has some program where a lot of people who require insulin can get the insulin at a reduced cost. People were rationing, which is idiotic that we have to do that. The diabetics who had to do this in the States aren't ridiculous. It's the whole idea of having to ration your insulin because you can't afford insulin till the next month or whatever. People have died. So that's a good move. That's a positive move. Doesn't include everyone, but it's a beginning for the states to do something. So talk to your pharmacist, talk to your endocrinologist, your diabetes nurse, and or the clinic that you come from or were diagnosed at. Ask them, well, I'm having trouble buying all this stuff. They will usually come up with solutions. They know the system. They've been working that system for years. And that's how you get help. You just keep asking until you get the answers you want. And with that, we're going to call it a day. Have a super day and relax. It all seems to work out. Have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.